Hello there, and welcome to Film Favs. I'm Justin Grohl. I am the resident internal director and giant movie buff of VTV. I'm here with...
Lexi Brenner. Oh, is this where I introduce myself more?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Lexi Brenner. I am currently the president of Villanova Television. I'm a senior communication major from Barrington, Rhode Island. And I'm happy to be here.
Great. So today we're going to start off with some just movie news. So we're going to start with the box office. So right now we have Argyle in number one. I don't know if you've seen trailers for this, but it's
Not at all.
a spy thriller made by Matthew Vaughn, who's made Kingsman and all kinds of stuff. But it only made 17 million this weekend, and actually that might be overall, but it's flopping hard. Reviews aren't good.
Bad.
But surprisingly, number two is something called The Chosen episode something, which is like about the rise of Jesus, which I have never heard of, and yet somehow it's second right now in the box office.
Sure.
Followed then by The Beekeeper, Wonka, and I feel like that just kind of just shows like it reinforced the idea of the fact that like January and February are like the dump months of movies.
Is that because the Oscars are usually, and really the whole award season, but like the Oscars are in March and like award season's the beginning of the year, and if people drop movies now, then they're not going to be considered until like the next year. Does that have anything to do with it?
I think partially yes. Because like the movies that you see in January and February, they're nowhere near close to award winning. Like if you like The Beekeeper, that's not winning an Oscar anytime soon. But I don't know. I think it's also part of like I don't know. No one's going to the movies mainly in January. Like it's more just like summer blockbusters is when they get most of their money, and then you got like holiday weekends and all that. And
which is funny because like when the weather is kind of like cold and like maybe snowy, depending on where you live, you'd think a good like get out of the house activity would be to go to the movie theater and see a movie, but
yeah, it's kind of weird,
not.
you know. I think like a year or two ago they kind of broke that streak. I think like one of the Scream movies came out, and like that was huge because like January never has something like that. But yeah. So moving on, we have the Super Bowl coming up this weekend.
Yep.
So I really do not care for the Super Bowl. I don't care who wins. I do care. I don't like the Chiefs. But yeah, I'm not really excited about the game too much. I don't know about you.
I mean, I grew up as a spoiled New England Patriots fan. So my prime days of really caring about the Super Bowl have ended, I think. Because it doesn't exactly look like the Patriots are going to be working their way back to that anytime soon. I'm still, though, a general sports fan. So, like, I'm looking forward to the Super Bowl just because of, like, what it is. Do I have a preference who wins this year? No. You know, the Chiefs and 49ers, I really don't have a strong preference. Of the teams that were left in like the AFC and NFC championships, I was hoping that the Lions would make it. However, they did not. So that kind of like took away some excitement from how much I would actually care about the game itself. But I'm still looking forward to just like the atmosphere and experience. So.
See, I'm neither a sports fan nor a fan of either team. So what I'm most looking forward to are the commercials.
I mean, yeah, that's something to look forward to as well.
Especially the trailers.
When I was little, I remember one year I like tried to keep track and like write down every single commercial. But then I was a child, so I had to go to sleep before the game ended. I remember I made my dad continue writing that. Dad, I know you're watching this, so if you remember doing that, fact check me because I very distinctly remember that.
Yeah, I remember having to do the same thing sort of with my history teacher in like the 8th grade. He like assigned us a worksheet and was like, watch the Super Bowl, keep track of, write down a trailer, write down a food commercial, a car commercial.
Ooh.
And it was just weird. But,
yeah, that's...
you know, the Super Bowl though, like that's a big place for trailers. And so I'm excited to see what they have. I have a list here of some potential trailers that might come out. So we got A Quiet Place Day 1, We have If, Imaginary Friend. It's yeah. um, Probably the one I'm most interested to see if it comes out is Deadpool 3, if that trailer ends up coming
I
out.
haven't seen either of the first two, but I've heard those are good. Those are good movies.
Yeah. And then we got Inside Out 2, potentially.
Oh.
Wicked Part 1.
Oh.
Despicable Me 4.
Ah.
The Fall Guy. Kung Fu Panda 4. And one that I have no idea what to expect from this movie, but Twisters, a sequel. So there was like a 90s or 80s movie called Twister about tornado chasers, and apparently they're making a sequel now, which is kind of weird, given that two of the characters who were in the movie, their actors sadly passed away in real life.
Ooh.
So I'm very interested to see if they follow some of the same characters or if they just start from new. Are there any of the you seem to be most excited about Inside Out 2 and Wicked Part 1?
Inside Out 2, I didn't realize they were making an Inside Out 2. As you can see, I'm very knowledgeable about the current world of the movie industry. I didn't know they were making Inside Out 2, so I was kind of like, okay. I saw the first one when it came out. I don't really remember too much what I thought about it, but I think making a second one is interesting for sure. Wicked Part 1, that's been in the works for a while.
Yeah,
so I was like, whoa, it's like finally time for there to be a trailer. So yeah, that's why I had a reaction to that one, because I'll definitely want to see that.
Yeah.
And the Minions, like, of course.
I didn't think they'd make a fourth one.
I didn't know they were making a fourth one, but
yeah.
I'm a big
Same
Minion
thing with Kung Fu
fan.
Panda 4. I thought they were done.
Yeah, I've only seen the first Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah.
I believe. It was like my third grade class, like went on a field trip to see it or something.
Yeah. I'm excited for all these. I'm not expecting too much from any of these, just because I'm pretty sure a couple of these just finished wrapping.
Okay.
So I'm expecting maybe like short teasers.
Yeah.
I think probably the longest one we'll see here is probably either A Quiet Place, If, or Despicable Me 4. Just because those trailers are already out.
Okay.
I think, though, they might put it just in the Super Bowl just because it's only on YouTube for right now. They want to have maybe a TV premiere for it.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I'm expecting to see is Dune Part 2. That movie's coming out March 1st.
Didn't see the first one.
Okay.
Didn't hear great things about it, though.
Didn't hear...
Like, I feel like everybody I talked to who saw Dune, like, when it came out or whatever, was like, it was fine. Like, I don't remember hearing, like, oh my god, that movie was so good.
And I think that might partially just be because... I know this has been gearing up for a while, the fact that it was a two-parter, because everyone knew that Dune Part 1 was just the setup. It laid the groundwork, I guess, and everyone's expecting Dune Part 2 to be all the action and all the excitement.
Okay.
Which is interesting. You kind of only get that in, like, franchises, you know? Like, Harry Potter, like, you had, like, the Deathly Hallows Part 1 was so slow and, like, a lot of talking.
Unpopular opinion, I like Deathly Hallows
I
Part
too
1.
like Deathly Hallows Part 1.
Yeah.
But, you know, I feel like it was only able to do what it did just because the previous movies built the groundwork. It was like, okay, we trust you. We trust that the last movie, like the Part 2 will be exciting.
Right.
And I know fans of, like, the book are very excited. So I haven't read the books.
Oh, Dune's a book?
It is a book, yes.
So, I'm telling you, I'm not exactly the greatest person for movie
I don't know. I'm
knowledge.
very excited. I liked Dune Part 1. I thought it was interesting. But, yeah, I'm excited to go see this one in theaters.
Nice.
And in other Dune news, I don't know if you've seen, this has been trending a lot on social media, but the Dune Popcorn Bucket.
So, before we started filming today, I looked up the Dune Popcorn Bucket because I was like, okay, that's kind of like a random point of discussion. So I did a quick little Google search, realized that I had seen it on TikTok in some very inappropriate contexts. And yeah, that's about all I know about it.
Yeah, it's quite an unfortunate. It's see when I
I
first
don't
saw
know how many people that had to go through to approve, but you would think that at least somebody would say, "Hey, that's a kind of a suggestive design, don't you think?"
yeah. For those of you at home who have not seen the Dune Popcorn Bucket, here it is, right here. Okay. Yeah. Just I know what they're going for, but in a sense.
See, I haven't seen the movie, so I don't even know what they're going
so
for.
it's the mouth of a sandworm, is what it is.
Oh, okay.
But I gotta think that they knew that this would be made fun of. I gotta think
That's
that.
what I mean. It's like stuff like that has to go through so many people for like first like brainstorming ideas, getting ideas, manufacturing like approval from execs and stuff. Like there's a lot of things that needs to go through, and that's what I said before. Like you'd think at least one person might stop and be like, what is social media gonna do with this?
And I think that might have been just the whole point, like the fact that they knew that this would probably go viral.
Yeah, because that's the other thing too. Like as they say, any press is good press. So like even if they know that their popcorn bucket might be taken in some non-PG contexts, that they're like, hey, well, at least people are talking about the Dune popcorn bucket.
Yeah, I mean SNL did like a whole skit on it too.
Oh, they did.
They did, yeah.
I'll have to look that up and watch that.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Oh man, I can only imagine.
All I'll say is that I want one.
Okay, Justin.
Just because it looks cool. That's it. No other reason. Okay, so now to the real heart of the show here. Delving into one of your favorite movies. So the list that you gave me.
Oh boy.
Was
such a highly like intellectual list of movies.
I know. Just so intellectual. So the four that weren't chosen for this episode were Pirates of the Caribbean, Harry Potter, Forrest Gump, and Mamma Mia. However, the one that we're going to be talking about today is The Breakfast Club. So The Breakfast Club came out in 1985. John Hughes movie, written and directed. And, just a small cast. And I'd say a pretty iconic movie by all standards. I'd say probably one of the many 80s movies, I guess. I was going to say few, but I'm like, the 80s is the decade.
No,
but yeah.
Lots of movies in the 80s.
So yeah, probably one of the biggest teen movies of the 80s there. So my first question for you about this is, why... This is not meant in an attacking way, but why do you like this movie?
Wow, that's such an attacking question, Justin.
Oh, no.
I can't believe you asked that. No. How do I phrase this? So, I feel like what's your favorite movie is like a fairly common question to ask somebody just in general in any context. And I don't exactly have like a really like thought out like this movie changed my life answer. Like my default is usually Forrest Gump, but my other default is usually The Breakfast Club. And so I picked this movie just because, like you said, it's a classic. I remember the first time I watched it, which I believe was either sometime in middle school or early high school. I was like, wow, like I haven't seen a movie like this before. So it's just one of those classic movies. I don't really know how else to explain why it's on my list of favorite movies, except that I just remember when I watched it for the first time, I was like, I really like that. Like that was a good movie. I'd watch that again. And I think I did watch it again pretty soon after watching it for the first time. And I remember like picking up on things that I didn't like really pick up on the first time around. So
yeah,
I don't know if that answers your question.
It's a good answer. Good answer. Going Family Feud here. Good answer. So in this movie, there's really only 5 main characters in this movie.
Right.
You got the brain, you got the athlete, the basket case, the princess, and the criminal. Out of these 5, would you say that like you have a favorite out of them, or would you say that maybe like you connected more with one than the others?
I wouldn't say that I connected with any of them in particular. It was more kind of, I guess, entertaining to see how they all interacted. Because, like, the 5 characters are very, like, stereotypical representations of just, like, an American teenager, I guess. You're not meant to say, I'm exactly like this one. It's kind of like, I don't know why this just came to mind, but you know, like, the Divergent book series?
Yeah.
Where they have like their different factions, like Dauntless and Abnegation and whatever the other ones are. They're not coming to my mind at this moment, but and then there's the Divergent people, obviously. And I remember I saw something. I was pretty into these books in middle school, as you can tell by me remembering everything about it. But I remember seeing something that was like, the person today, like, reading it isn't supposed to identify with one of the factions, like, the normal person is Divergent because everyone's not just one thing.
Yeah.
Like, people are more complex than that, I guess. So, like, I feel like it's the same thing with the Breakfast Club characters. Is that, yeah, you might have one that you're more leaning towards or you feel more connected with, but I don't think you're supposed to be like, I am that one.
Yeah.
Like, I think that the representations are very stereotypical and they're meant to be that way. But, like, the viewer is supposed to, like, resonate with, like, all of them in some sense.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like part of the movie, and I think part of just like maybe the time period it was made. Because like I remember reading about like when this came out, like this was like a very important movie when it came out.
It's just unique. I don't know.
It was
just
unique.
a unique vibe to it.
But like also it talked about topics that no other movie was really willing to talk about. Like
Right.
Like it wasn't like most movies were like just being like, yeah, I'm in high school.
Yeah, like it was a lot deeper than that. Like, I
yeah.
remember however old I was, me watching it was like, whoa, like that's like, I was not expecting them to bring this up or bring that up or have the characters talk about this, or like I remember specifically the scene towards the end where they're all kind of upstairs talking.
Oh, like
you know, on like the
circle?
upstairs balcony, and they're really sharing, you know, like their deep, dark, like secrets about like their family lives and stuff like that. I remember, what's her name?
Which one?
The princess character.
Princess? That's nope, that's not her name. Claire.
Claire. I was gonna say Claire, but then I thought that was the actress's name, but no, the
that's
actress is Molly Ringwald. Yeah, okay. Claire starts like getting really worked up and like is crying. And the rest of them don't really have, it's not that they don't have a reaction, but they just kind of let her be. Like, they don't pry further. They don't like laugh at her, or they don't like just, they don't seem to be uncomfortable or anything. They just kind of are complacent and listening, which makes me think, I'm like, how would I have reacted in a situation like that, either whether I was in the situation of Claire or the people listening? Like, how would I have, it made me think, like, how would I have conducted myself in that kind of situation? I don't know if that makes sense. This is just what I remember thinking while I was watching it. I remember just kind of being like, whoa, like, that scene was very powerful. Like, obviously they're actors and they're acting and they're in character, but it's like, if real people were going through those kinds of conversations, which they do, that happens all the time, it's like, how would you conduct yourself, you know?
Yeah. So a fun fact actually about the movie. So the whole thing was shot in sequence. So the very first thing they shot was their first scene.
That makes sense.
And they went through the whole thing. But once they got to the circle scene, there was no script.
Oh.
All that happened was that John Hughes apparently told each of their before they started shooting the whole thing, they were like, this is why your character's in detention.
Yeah.
So they told them that, and then they shot in sequence, and then the moment they got to the circle, it was like, all right, you know these characters.
Wow.
Tell the story.
That makes it even like, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. That makes it even like deeper, I guess, in a way.
It just feels so much more like organic, I guess.
Yeah. Also, like, being somebody who was watching this, you know, when you're a similar age to the characters, you think about, like, who people that you know in your life, how are these people similar to these characters? Like, it kind of shows you that everybody, no matter what you might think about them, or like based on your very superficial interactions with them, that everybody has their own, not their own lives, because obviously everyone has their own lives, but like there's a lot more that goes on than what people realize. And I think this movie did a really good job at highlighting that, because these characters got so close in such a literally short period of time, because it's literally just the length of a day.
Yeah.
Less than a day, really. So it's like the fact that all of the characters kind of opened up about their lives and were like went from being really standoffish with each other to like really deeply bonding. It, like, you can't help but think like what happens after that.
Yeah, that was
like, that was one of the things I wish happened in the movie, was that you could see what happens like when they all go back to school on Monday.
I'm actually very happy that they didn't do that, because
obviously I know why they don't do that, because you know, I can, like, the story ends like where it ends, but like you just wonder what happened.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite moments in that movie is in the circle, and I remember Brian was like, next time you see us like in school on Monday, will you guys even talk to us?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that scene.
And
they were like, no.
Yeah. I remember it was Molly Ringwald says no.
Yeah.
And Andrew, the athlete, is like, no, it's a crappy thing to do. I would never do that. But then
Claire's like, that's bullshit.
Yeah,
like, sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to
fine.
swear on here.
I don't care.
She's basically like, no, like, that's not what would happen.
Yeah, I just thought that was just so interesting, because it felt real, because it wasn't like the fairy tale, we're all best friends.
We're all besties now. Yeah, no, that's what I mean. I think that's what I was trying to get at with my very like long-winded way of like of trying to answer that. But yeah, that they didn't just go with, oh yeah, we're gonna live happily ever after now, we're all besties. It's like, no, like, think of the dynamics of your own high school, your own life. Like, is that what would happen?
Yeah.
Probably not, which is too bad. But like, the fact that movie was able to, you know, touch on that, like you said before, is talking about things that other movies don't really talk about.
And then I remember watching this movie for the first time, being like, oh yeah, there's like nothing wrong with this movie. But then like the more I looked at like critics like nowadays, they all have one thing in common that they don't like about the movie.
What is it?
And it's the fact that they give Alice in the basket case
a makeover.
They give her a makeover.
Yep. Yeah, that sounds familiar. Yeah, because that makes her the only character who conforms to fit others of the five of them, because they all like stick true to who they are. Like, but yeah, she's the only one who really kind of conforms to the rest of them.
Yeah,
that makes so much sense why that would be the only criticism of it. Yeah.
I'm very 50-50 on it, because on the one hand, I fully see that argument. But like on the other hand, I think to myself, I'm like, is that really what it's a representation of? Because I see it.
I guess not.
Because the way I like interpreted it before seeing like things online was that she came out of her shell, I guess.
Yeah.
Because like the whole movie, she barely talks. Like she doesn't talk. She doesn't do like. She just.
You don't learn anything about her, really.
I mean, there's nothing to learn. She's only there because she's bored.
Sure there's something to learn. Yeah.
But
no, when you find out that she's only there because she was bored, I was like, seriously, like, this is how she's choosing to spend her Saturday. Yeah.
So like, it's a tight line to walk to show either conformity or coming out of the shell. And I think just because of how simplistic the movie was and how stereotypical the characters were meant to be portrayed, I guess, in the beginning.
Right.
I think it made it.
I guess so. Like, that doing the makeover, that can be seen as coming out of your shell. But I think the fact that then Andrew likes her as a result of the makeover, that's what makes it like she's conforming, I guess. You know, because like, you remember when she comes out of like the room with Claire, like after the makeover, all of a sudden he's like, whoa.
Yeah,
and it's all like, she's hot now or whatever. So like, I think that probably is the part of it that where it's seen as like conforming, because like why didn't he
like changing to be a
like her
boy
before?
to
Yeah.
changing to for like
It's
a guy.
Yeah, like why didn't he like her as you just got to know her throughout the
I
day? Why did it take a makeover? You know.
I can't remember like this like exact details, but I feel like I always
Sliding off the couch. Right
I feel like I remember like he liked her throughout the he gave off that feeling.
Well, it was like
I just think,
it was
yeah.
building, but that was just like the last thing that like made him like outwardly,
Yeah.
you know, not like hide it, I guess.
Yeah, that's kind of yeah. It's a I don't know. Compared
I
to
feel like
si-
such a movie critic right now.
compared to 16 Candles.
Oh, I've also seen that. I don't really remember much about that movie, though.
Hot take. I don't like that movie.
I don't remember particularly liking it, but I don't really remember much about it.
If you want a problematic John Hughes movie, there you go.
Because that's also Molly Ringwald, right?
That's Molly Ringwald.
Yeah.
But I don't want to get too into it.
Yeah, no. We're here to talk about The Breakfast Club, not
I don't want to
16
get too
Candles.
into it, but there's plenty of things that definitely weren't even cool back then.
Okay.
But
sure.
yeah, look it up. There's probably plenty of articles.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. I do not like that movie. But
I
yeah.
hope someone else picks 16 Candles as their movie to discuss in their
I'm
episode.
ripping them to shreds if that's the case. Because there's a lot of problems they gotta look past. Let's see. What else? I guess here. Would you, consider, if you had to be one of them, like would you consider yourself a brain, an athlete, a princess of basket case, or a criminal? Are you the criminal, Lexi?
I'd say I would rule out the criminal and the basket case. I'd say I'm...
Like, you can be a mix of them, too.
Yeah, I was going to say... I don't know. I don't think there's one that I am specifically.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's because there's like aspects of a
Each
bunch
of
of them that I'd be like, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I'm also thinking of like me in high school too. Because like me in high school, like I was on the tennis team, so I guess that checks like the athlete box. You know, I was very studious, cared about my grades, you know, very focused on schoolwork and like, you know, getting into a good college and stuff. Brain. And then like the town I grew up in was it was the best public school in the state. I mean, the Rhode Island's a very small state, but still I went to a very like stereotypically, I hate this like kind of stereotype of my town, but where I grew up was kind of like the rich town, which like that's not, you can't make a blanket statement like that, but I am also able to acknowledge the privilege of the town I grew up in. Like I was very lucky to grow up where I grew up. I had a very, you know, good childhood and education, which I'm very grateful for, but I guess that can also check off kind of the princess aspect, because like people might view my high school and where I grew up as being like snooty, but I don't think it is because like the people I surrounded myself with in my town were very down to earth and, you know, grounded, but there were definitely, you know, sides of that were not. So like I remember one of my high school tennis matches at a high school from another just town in the state was playing at our high school, and it was like my job as like one of the captains of the team that year to like show them inside when they got here, you know, show them where the bathroom is, locker room, wherever. And they were like, oh my gosh, like, do you go to a private school? Like, this school's so nice. And I like didn't even think about like it being a nice school or anything compared to other high schools in the state. Like, it was just where I went to high school. So I remember their reaction to like my school where I was so used to, that made me realize like, okay, this might not be the norm.
Yeah. Personally for me, I mean, like I did cross country and stuff, but like I am and always will be the brain. Like I remember watching the movie, and I was throughout a majority of the movie, you know, up until the revelation. I was him. I was Brian the Brain in high school.
Yeah.
Like that was me. But yeah, I think like nowadays I think everyone is a mix of like all the like a couple of these like everyone kind of has a bit of those characters.
Mm-hmm.
Because going back to like the fact that this was made in the 80s, like I feel like it was more susceptible that like people would be only one of these. Because I feel like standards were kind of like, you have to be one of these.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's like when like bullying was happening. Like, like, I don't know, my high school, like everyone kind of like just knew each other. Like, that's kind of how it was. There wasn't like, there was like cliques, but like, it wasn't like, this is only who you can talk to.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Like, there was definitely groups in my high school. But I'd say in high school more so than middle school, people were much more willing to talk to anybody and, you know, form even just casual friendships with people, even though it might not be like your group of friends or whatever. So.
Yeah. Let's see, there's a couple other things I want to talk about. I mean, we can touch on the principal a little bit, just the fact that he's in that movie.
The principal is a very funny character to me because... So, the principal's name, I don't know if you remember, is Richard Vernon.
Oh, okay.
You don't know where I'm going with this.
I think I have... Okay, no, I don't?
You don't know where I'm going with this. So, so my dad is the oldest of 4 brothers, and his brother that's, you know, directly younger than him, my Uncle Rick.
Okay.
His name is, or his full name is Richard Vernon Brenner. So the fact that the silly, goofy principal's name is Richard Vernon was always just very funny to me because it's like my uncle.
See, I fully thought you were making your way around to making a dick joke.
No, I was
Richard
not.
could be shortened to Dick.
Nope.
Okay,
Nope.
Yep, I had no idea
not
where you're going.
Not that shallow, Justin.
Well, I am. So.
No, like literally, I remember like when I first watched this movie, that was like the first thing my dad pointed out. He was like, look at the like name tag on the principal's desk. It's Richard Vernon. And I'm like, whoa, it's Uncle Rick. Crazy.
Yeah, the older I get watching that movie, the more like I sympathize with the principal. Like even though
he's just trying his best.
Even though he has his moments where he's just a complete asshole.
Yeah.
Like especially when he like threatens Bender in the closet.
Yeah, like he's not a good person.
But like he's still like a human.
Yeah, it's like he has to be at school on a Saturday too. Nobody wants to be at school on a Saturday. But what was I gonna say? I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, I was gonna say I haven't watched this movie in a while.
I mean, you're doing pretty well.
So I need to rewatch it. Sean suggested I rewatch it last night. I did not.
Okay.
So I don't know if that was a good idea not to.
I mean, you seem to know enough about the movie that we're having a conversation about it.
Yeah. I mean, I have a fairly good memory, I think, most of the time.
I mean, it's on your top 5.
But yeah, but I feel like when I rewatch this, I'll, you know, pick up on even more things that I didn't before.
Yeah. And then you obviously have the ending, like a pretty iconic movie song and final frame.
And then the whole,
you
like,
know, don't you?
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just, I don't know. I feel like just that's like probably one of the movie endings. You know, I feel like it's I guess it's probably up there with like Star Wars and stuff.
I always wondered why though Bender like put his fist up.
I see it
like,
kind of as it's like a celebration thing because like Claire gave him his earring.
Right.
And it's like, okay, we're going to be dating now.
Okay.
And I see it as him kind of like
being like, woohoo. Okay.
You know.
I see.
You know, like a celebrate, or it could be a rebellious thing. I don't know. I'm not the criminal. Yeah. And then another fun fact about this movie, actually, going back all the way to the beginning, is that John Hughes has a cameo in this movie.
He does?
He is Brian's dad who drops him off to school.
Oh. Okay.
I didn't notice this until like the 5th rewatch I had, and I was like paying more attention, and I was like, "Whoa!" I was gonna
say, like, I feel like the only parent that has lines is Andrew's dad.
Yeah, I think maybe Claire's dad does as well.
I don't know.
I think she gives him the sushi. I don't know.
I don't remember.
But let's see. I think that's almost all the questions I have. Oh, actually, I have one other thing.
Okay.
So, the name of the high school, Sherma High School. It's a real place. So this high
Isn't
school.
it in like Illinois or something like that?
It's in Chicago. So that's
Okay.
where he sets basically every single movie he does. He's a Chicago fan all the way.
Okay.
But Shermer High is the same high school in not only The Breakfast Club, but Ferris Bueller's Day Off,
Really?
16 Candles,
Oh.
and Weird Science.
Okay, I haven't heard of Weird Science, but
Weird Science is another good John Hughes movie. I don't want to get into that. But basically, two kids build a robotic woman
oh,
from a Barbie doll.
oh,
It's a fun movie, though. I enjoy that one. It's goofy. But also, Shermer High School is where they filmed Home Alone as well. Home Alone doesn't have a high school.
I was gonna say, is there a high school in Home Alone?
No, but
I
what
don't
they
think so.
did is in the swimming pool, or I believe the gym of the high school, they built the entire interior of the house in Home Alone.
Really?
That's where they shot all the interior shots of Home Alone.
That's crazy.
Because in like the actual house, like you can't fit all that equipment in there.
Yeah, no. Wow,
So Shermer High School has a very important
that's pretty
staying
crazy.
power for John Hughes movies.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And then to finish things off, say that VTV is making The Breakfast Club.
Okay.
All right. You can go back through alumni. You can pick from this year. You can pick just people you know.
Okay.
I don't care. Who's playing these 6 characters? I'm going to say 6 characters.
Including the principal?
Including the principal.
Okay. So to make this clear, this is who is playing them.
Who is playing them.
Not
This is not
who is
who is them.
necessarily
We are not
most
calling
like
someone
them.
a criminal.
Okay.
All right.
And we're not calling anyone like any of the characters, really. Okay. Do you have your picks too?
I have ideas.
Okay, I'll go first because I'm the guest.
Yeah.
But then I want to hear yours as well.
Okay.
Okay. I'll try to keep it to this year.
Okay.
Just, more relevant
I'm
for the
extending back
times.
to last year.
Okay. Maybe I will too. I don't know.
And you can also, let's say you can also gender bend as well.
Okay.
So if you think,
Do you think?
yeah, I can go first if
Yeah,
you'd like.
I feel like I'm just gonna copy your answers though if you
All
go
right.
first.
So to begin,
But you should go.
I have a couple ideas for the principal.
Okay.
And it's going to be interesting because this one, he's not much older than some of the students that I'm going to be placing in here. But I believe that Patrick Lyons would be a great Vernon.
Okay.
Some runner-ups would be Grant Haugo and Zach Mann.
Oh yeah.
I think they'd be...
Ooh, I don't know about Zach as the principal.
I don't know. From what I've seen in videos and from just meeting
Yeah,
them, I think that they could... I'm not saying that they are... Again, I'm not saying these are these characters.
Yeah,
I'm saying
I would say who could play them.
who could play them.
That's true. That's true.
And I think Pat
Yeah,
can get the wild
Pat's
energy.
a good one. I do think Grant would do a good job. I also think that, actually, never mind.
Never mind.
Cut that out.
Cut that.
Cut.
Okay,
Okay, so yeah, let's do this as like a collaborative.
Yeah, collaborative
Because I
effort.
have some ideas too,
You have
but I
ideas.
don't necessarily have like a established list. So let's do this
All
collaboratively.
right, moving on to
Okay, so principal, Pat or Grant.
Pat or Grant.
Mm-hmm.
So next, let's move on to let's just go through the order that they're said in the monologue.
Okay.
So we got the brain next. We got Brian.
Okay, I have my ideas.
Who is your idea?
I was thinking Mr. Josh Mazurkevich.
Oh, that's such a good one. That's such a good
What
one.
were you thinking?
I was thinking Miguel. I think Miguel would do so great in that role.
Yeah, he could. Yeah.
But Josh. Oh, that would be interesting.
All right. So should we
Actually,
say
Yeah.
Josh or Miguel?
Josh
for
or
that
Miguel,
one?
I think, for that one.
Okay.
So moving down, next we got the athlete.
The athlete.
All right. Now this one's a difficult one, but I think I got this one.
I have an idea.
I have 2.
I have an idea. What do you think?
So number 1, Mr. Brad Wahlberg.
I knew you were gonna say that, but I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No.
My second one would be Tommy.
Okay.
Because, I don't know. I'm not too... Oh, you know what? No, I got the other one. I remember I had this one before, and I just completely lost it. I brought it back. Aiden.
I was going to say Aiden.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that would be pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think all three of them bring some energy to it.
Mm-hmm.
I think probably Tommy brings when he's stoned. I think Tommy bringing up the one scene where he's freaking...
I thought you meant when Tommy's stoned. I was like, I've never seen
No.
I was like, I've never seen Tommy
when Andrew's stoned in the movie. when he's smoking and he goes into the freaking like record room and screams and breaks all the windows.
Yeah, that could be, yeah.
I think that's Tommy right there.
Honestly, Brad would do a good job.
Brad
with that
would do
too.
a good job.
Okay, never mind. I take back it not being Brad, because I'm just thinking of when we were filming Stick to the Plan last year, and we had like the fake laser beam set up in Bendel, and Brad's character was supposed to just run through them and be like, like he did a good job with that.
He's got the hyped up energy for it.
Yeah.
So moving on next, I believe we have the princess.
Mm-hmm.
This one I don't know too much in my head. I have a few ideas.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to go first.
I have an idea.
I want you to go first, though.
Okay. I was thinking Hannah.
You're thinking Hannah.
Not just because her and Aiden.
Uh-huh.
But just because she's very sweet. You know, I feel like she could play the character well.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking potentially Isabella.
Mm-hmm.
But also maybe Margot.
Okay.
I think both bring some aspect of the character. I think Hannah does as well.
I think Hannah or Isabella more so than Margot.
Yeah. I don't know. Isabella was the first one that came to mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then I worked my way to Margot there. I'm not too sure about that one. That's probably the most... No, I wouldn't say that because we're getting to the criminal.
Oh, boy.
But yeah, I'd say for that one, we'd say it was Hannah and Isabella.
Okay.
Next, we had the basket case.
Mm-hmm. I have my idea for
I
this
have my
one.
idea for this one as well.
I wonder if they're going to be the same.
I think it's going to be the
I
same.
think it's going to be the same.
Ready?
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Gianna.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think we have to delve any further into that one.
Absolutely not.
I mean, she'd play it with the weird energy that she would.
She would play it so well.
She would.
She would do such a good job.
I could see her 100% putting the glitter in her hair and then.
Like,
oh wait, no, that's not glitter. That's dandruff.
Well,
Never mind.
Mean, she could put glitter in me. Yeah.
The glitter thing is from the Victorious episode that they did Breakfast Club.
Oh. Love Victorious. That was my show in elementary school.
I was just thinking about Nickelodeon shows before you came in.
Interesting.
Because I was just thinking about the fact that I was not part of the Victorious iCarly side. I was more of the Ned's Declassified and Big Time Rush side.
Yeah, see, I was just like Victorious side. Not even iCarly, really, just Victorious.
Yeah. So now we have the criminal, and this is...
Criminal. I have
a thought.
I have a thought as well.
I got to think on this one a bit more.
I wonder if it's the same thought, but...
I have two ideas.
I have one idea.
All right. What's your idea?
My idea was Connor.
Oh, that was not my idea.
What were your ideas?
So I'm thinking that Carm could do pretty well in that role.
Okay.
I think Carm could do the broodingness. And I think this second one's iffier, but Sean, I'm not thinking too much.
I don't think so.
I think Connor would do. I think if you mixed Connor and Carm together, potentially you get Bender. And maybe with a little bit of Sean's seriousness thrown in there.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a difficult one to cast for us, I'd say.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking through like all the people I got another one for athlete. We're going back. Andrew Mister.
Yeah. That'd be funny. No, Principal Mister.
Oh
Principal
my gosh,
Mister.
yes.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. That's it. All right, so our cast. So let's
we can still keep the options in there.
Let's keep the options, yeah. So we got probably either Pat or Mr. as
or Grant
in the principal role.
Uh-huh.
We got Josh and Miguel in Brian the Brain.
Yep.
We got Brad and
Aiden.
Yeah, those I I'm taking Tommy out in there.
Sorry, Tom.
Brad. Yeah. Sorry. Nope, that's not what I meant to say. So yeah, Brad and Aiden in the athlete role.
Mm-hmm.
We had the princess next. We said Hannah Isabella.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say for those two. Princess. Basket case. One option.
Gianna.
And then the criminal, Connor and Carm.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd see. I'd watch that.
Yeah, me too.
That would. I think honestly that would be a different movie.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
We should tell Entertainment to,
Make a trailer.
make a Breakfast Club parody.
Yeah.
Or Breakfast Club style.
Yeah. So that's all I had.
Okay.
So thank you for coming on to
Thank
this
you for
first
having me.
episode of Film Faves. I hope to have you
Yeah.
back on again because
Woohoo.
you have 4 other movies on this list. Maybe you'll be back for one of those. Maybe you'll be back for one of the specials I have
Yeah.
potentially in the works.
Oh.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. This is
fun though.
This is the
I
start.
enjoyed this.
Thank you. This is the start of a new show, so
Mhm.
we're still getting our footing.
So stay tuned.
Yes, stay tuned. Hopefully this will be a weekly show. So yeah, thank you and thanks for watching.
Yay.
Here comes the VTV logo.